Put the stool forwards. Sit on the stool. Hello there, folks. Hello and welcome to this weekend's video. And I'm going to preface the footage that is to come afterwards. And then we'll get into... I've had a parts delivery, so stuff can start happening again. Yay! Right, I'm going to preface this video straight after this talkie and parts discovery bit with a couple of wanks of the week. I got two in one day. It was great. I've actually been quite fortunate recently. I have a dash cam stroke 360 cam, etc. In the car, on the bike, all the time. And you know, usually my journeys go alright, but yesterday I had two in one day. Now, to preface it, the first one you'll see is a Mercedes AMG cutting across the front of me. Now, the preface of it, he was right up my arse. He was desperate to show me how fast his AMG was, so I stuck to the speed limit. You know, so I do stuff like that. If people want to tailgate me, they don't get very far. I usually like to slam the brakes on, or you know, point to the camera, something like that, and they usually back off. But this bloke, a bit of a knob, he was driving like a knob. And then we come to the M69 island, which is the island you'll see. And oh yeah, last minute he swerved around me so he could get alongside me. Deliberately, I'm not looking at him. I'm not even going to engage in it. He had illegal tints on. He had a passenger with him. Probably drug dealers. Possibly, probably not. They were probably community nurses. Who knows? They were drug dealers. Anyway, as soon as the lights changed, I go, and he had to get in front of me, and then he chopped my nose up to do that. It doesn't look that close on camera, but it actually was. So I called him some choice words. Anyway, his style of driving continued like this up the A5 until I turned off. But what you don't see on camera was he had a mate in a black Mazda 6 or whatever it was, something very dull, behind me, and he started tailgating me, and he got brake checked and backed right off. Yeah, I do not muck about. You know, I'll quite happily smack my car up to teach him a lesson. And the next one, well, I can't even remember what the next one is without looking at the footage again. What was that? Yeah, I had bell end in the MG. Oh yeah, me very almost head on with an Audi. Yeah, I was going down the road, and I just overtook someone that was doing 30 in a 50, perfectly clear road. You know, it was a Tesco delivery lorry, so he's probably got people's groceries on and he don't want to fuck them about. So I overtook him quite safely and coming in, and then there was a big tractor coming the other way. You don't see it too clearly on camera, but it's a big tractor. And then at the last minute, on solid whites, this Audi just appeared behind it. You'll see like some of it on camera, but it doesn't really show how close it really was. It was like a, well, this is going to hurt moment. So anyway, so there's my two wankers of the week. Anyway, let's get on to the parts delivery. Tits Mackenzie, Rose, is borrowing the car next week while hers goes in for repair. So she's borrowing mine because it will really upset her partner. We couldn't get the seats to adjust the other day. Now, it's always been intermittent, my seat adjust, always. And I went on the Foreskins forums and discovered it's this little chap. Usually it's a connectivity issue, and it's a relay, and it's underneath the steering wheel, so I've got to drop the bottom of the dashboard to fit it, which is okay because it means I can give the old electrical connections a squirt and stuff like that. Put it in, and we will have a seat adjustment because Jane needs the seat a bit further back than I do. Sorry, Tits Mackenzie needs the seat, so that's that part. What happens is, inside, this is like an old-fashioned relay. Inside is a circuit board basically, and the solders crack on it, and then you don't get connectivity, or you get very poor connectivity. But it is a Mercedes part, and Mercedes around that time started to use lead-free solder, which is not as strong, doesn't flow as well, etc, etc. So the cure is take the old one apart, resolder everything. but it's a lot easier just to plug a new one in. And I shall probably have a go at repairing the old one, so I've got a spare, just in case. But I mean, that one's lasted 21 years, or however old it is. It's 2001. 25 years? Well, it's actually 26 years because it was built the year before. So that's going to do that. I have some motorcycle parts coming as well. From my favourite supplier over at Wemoto. I've got a couple of brake light bulbs for the ZZR because I noticed one had gone, and look how they've packaged it. Look, they've put it in a tape holder so they don't get damaged. Very good. Top marks Wemoto. So yeah, I'm going to replace both bulbs, because usually if the twin bulbs, if one goes, the other one ain't far behind. And when I rebuilt the brakes, I think I mentioned before, I didn't do the master cylinder. One master cylinder repair kit, so I am going to put a new master cylinder repair kit in it, re-bleed the brakes. I'm getting a little bit of stiction up at the lever, and it isn't the lever pivot, it's the piston. So yes, that'll go in there. Wasn't a lot, maybe about 20 quid, something like that. And the other thing I've got an oil filter for the Aprilia, because that is due an oil change. I mean, I like to change the oil on everything once a year anyway, regardless of how many miles I've done. The Aprilia, I think the Aprilia did twice as much as the Z. I think the Aprilia did something like 3,000 miles last year, something like that. So I'm going to drop it anyway. It's not due a valve check yet. It's not due a valve check till it's done 12,000 miles. So leave it alone. If I get time, I am going to be taking the carbs out and balancing them and stuff there. But you can only bench sink those. You can't do them on the bike because there ain't no vacuum ports. I went work on Spurt the other day, and it running a bit rough. Didn't like to idle, but the fuel that was in it was from September, so I chucked a bit of Red X in it, and I topped it up with some V-Power. And by the time I was coming home again, it's all right. That bike has never really run well. It's a little bit woolly below 4,000 anyway, because it hasn't been jetted to that exhaust. That's like a full race road legal exhaust that's on it, and it hasn't been jetted to suit, so it is going to be a little bit woolly. Once it starts picking up, it goes. So yeah, so that's for the Aprilia. And I've got some like octane booster from Motorex to put in the Z, just to give it a little helping hand. So until we go in the shed, which should be the next bit after Wankers of the Week, that's it for this talky bit. There might be another one at the end. We'll see. Oh yeah, beverage of the day is actually Bavaria Lemon Radler. Yeah, it's like a lemon shandy. It's very nice. Got it from Amazon. It's very delicious. Yes. Oh, and I tell you what I did buy. Not a big drinker, but sometimes you just fancy a little tipple. And I bought some Dutch Barn ginger vodka. You know, the Ricky Gervais stuff. Oh, it's good. It's very good as a mixed, like with Pepsi or something. Very good, very fiery ginger, but very, very delish. Right, to the shed. Tail end of the week, so let's see your
Day 2.
It's doings time, folks. One thing I want to do, so that's the new piston for the new 125 barrel. I've got a few jobs to do. I've got to put the relay in the Mercedes. I've got to do that this weekend, otherwise I can't adjust the seats, and Jane won't be able to get in. But what I want to do is get Phyllis's engine sort of weatherproof again. So I'm just going to stick the old barrel back on. I'm going to pop the old knackered piston off, just put the old barrel on, put the covers all back on this, and then she can be put outside. Connect the exhaust up again, and she can hand gestures. She can go back outside, and I'm not worried about leaving it in the weather, because then I need some room, because to today I plan on finishing the quad. There, I've said it. Hopefully finishing the quad. I've got a couple of little jobs to do on Spurt as well. I've got to replace some bulbs and add some octane booster, etc. If I've got time, I might even fit the master cylinder kit, but I wasn't planning on doing that today. The important stuff is get the quad fixed, get Phyllis weatherproof, get the Merc fixed. I'm doing the Merc later because it's raining at the minute and it's supposed to stop raining later. So that's the plan. Let's get on with it.
12 seconds later.
Right, I've got the cylinder head made up for Phyllis. So at some point I'm going to move Spurtle out, put the barrel and everything back on Phyllis, and then whip Phyllis out of the way so I've got a bit of room. Ducky. And then, if I remember rightly, to do the rear bulbs on Spurtish, there are no obvious screws at the back. I think you take the seat off and you can get access into the back. We'll soon find out.
A few moments later.
Yeah, just as a thought. There we are, look. Can you see? The light's not very good in here at the moment, but you can see both side bulbs. That's the one that's gone. I am going to replace both. All I have to do, remove the tool pouch, get me hand in, and do it. So I shall crack on with doing that. Lightage fitted. Lightage working. In case you're wondering what type of bulb is, it's one of these, which is a 5-stroke 21 watt. Your 21 watt will be your brake light and the 5 is your running light. I think they're called a P, but I can't read that, so I ain't got my readers on. But it's a staggered pin lock. Dead cheap, normal car bulb. Nice. Job 1 successful. Oh, the button's playing up on my bloody camera.
6.5 hours later.
What a job this has turned out to be. I've had to replace the seat adjustment relay. They're known for going bad. Your seats will be intermittent and eventually they'll just stop working. And what you have to do is take this bottom cowl off. There's loads of screws. There's like 10 of them. Undo it. I've undone the switch packs here just to drop it out of the way. And I'm changing a couple of balls in the instrument cluster as well, so normally I wouldn't touch that. But this is the location of it, just there. And that applies to right hand drive or left hand drive. It's all with the steering column. So I hope that helps you. My seats are now working. It's just a little bit of a fiddly job, but it's certainly doable for the home mechanic. Yes. Push the fucking button. Yes, oh, let's stand you on this. Yeah. Is that better? Probably not. Anyway, I've just replaced the seat adjustment relay in the Merc. Half the dashboard's still out of it, and half the tags and stuff that the screw I was going through, they've all broken off. Somebody's obviously been in there before, which became evident. This is the culprit. That's the part number. It is a Mercedes part made by Siemens, and when I tugged the relay, basically, oh, it ain't going to do it now, you bastard. It fell apart, but it would be evident somebody's been in here before. It is a common issue, and when I pulled on the relay, I actually pulled the back off the relay with no effort at all. And now I want to get it off. I can't get the thing off. But anyway, what's in here is a relay. Yeah, that's why it's called a relay, Jim. And what usually happens is it either overheats and stops working, or it overheats and some of the solder cracks and you get a cold solder joint. Actually, it doesn't matter if I completely destroy this now, because I have no intention of keeping it as a spare. It's a good job I'm not one of them rocket doctors, isn't it? Come on, you little bastard. Oh, don't swear, James. Real-time buggerations. Right, I'll put it out of that side. Just as I get it out of that side, the other side goes back in. I'm going to go through my sodding legs in a minute. Right, so anyway, it's just got the relay in it. And as you can see, that one's discoloured. That can be through age, it can be through heat. More than likely heat. And I've just bent the fucking pin. There's no signs of corrosion on the contactors or anything like that, but you can get a sort of oxidisation, micro corrosion, which will increase resistance. But usually what happens is, the pictures on the internet are massive, by the way. This is the size of it. It's the same size as my beautiful nose. All those solder joints. One of, or a couple of, these solder joints, the usual culprit is they crack, and they're microfine cracks. The best thing to do is just resolder them all, and usually it works again. I could not be arsed with that, because one, my eyes aren't brilliant, and two, you know, I tried to resolder the K40 relay, did it all properly, and it didn't work, so it was just better just to buy another one. But this one, I'm not going to use it as a spare. But yeah, but that's what to do. It's usually one of these that's gone, and you can reflow and fix it. Doesn't cost you anything other than your time. But Jesus, that was such a faff getting it out. There's about 10 screws holding that lower dashboard panel in, and a lot of them are obviously just sort of support screws, and some of them attach another panel to it. There's another panel above the pedals and gestures, and I've managed to get a bit of it in at the minute, but it's just started pissing down again. Sorry. It started raining, and so I don't want to be lying. I have to lie in the car to get to the screws, and I ain't doing that when it's wet. But the seats work. Yay! And I've also replaced a couple of faulty bulbs in the cluster while I was there, and that was evident that somebody had been in there as well, because you know the glass is cracked in a bit. You don't actually see it with the surround on, but yeah, somebody's been in there. But at the end of the day, it's what, 25 years old, so it's to be expected. The only other job I want to do on the Merc really is, at some point I want to put new pads and discs on the front, because they are starting to wear, and the front right is sometimes makes a little bit of a noise, but it sounds like, you know, your dust shield on the back of the disc, it sounds like that might have just going ching ching ching, but it doesn't do it all the time, only does it after rain, which makes me think it's the caliper. It's just a bit of shite on the caliper. But I shall do the whole axle. I shall put new discs. I might even go for new calipers and stuff like that, because they're looking a bit rusty crusty, and it don't hurt, does it? And to be fair, the price of a caliper is very close to a rebuild kit, so you may as well just put caliper on. And if I'm going to do that, I may as well replace the rubber hoses, which I've never done on a car before, actually. Replaced loads of hoses on motorcycles, but not cars. Anyway, I'm waffling, and I think what I'm going to do is leave the quad for another video. I'll probably drop on the quad tomorrow, because I've had enough today. I shall wait for it to stop raining, I shall put my dashboard back in, and then I shall chill out, because otherwise there's no point having a weekend. So, yes, we'll call it for this one, and the next one will be the quad. Yes, which I might even release tomorrow, who knows. Ta-da!